All right, we're going to start. Oh. Who? I don't know. I don't know where he's from, but I can find out. They're excited about him. They stopped all later interviews. They're like, when they met him, they're like, I'll find out. Welcome. We're going to call this meeting to order. We do have a quorum. Dr. Welly, would you lead us in the pledge?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I would look for a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. That will take us to recognitions tonight.
Awesome. Thank you all so much again for being here with us tonight. We are going to start off with Ms. Thomas and Ms. Hines with the Middle School Civics Club.
Hi, good evening. I'm Miss Thomas, and this is Mrs. Hines, and we sponsor the Civics Bee at North Middle School. This is actually the first time that the National Civics Bee has come to Green Valley. These guys started back in October by preparing an essay where they had to identify a problem in their community, and they had to develop a solution to that problem in their essay. They submitted that essay in February. Then they had their local competition at the beginning of May, where they had to do 10 multiple choice questions, 2 rounds, and then present their essay in front of a panel of judges. They did a really good job. They've put in a lot of work, especially like on their own, and we're really proud of them, and good luck at state.
Thank you so much. Next up, we have Mrs. Tiefenbrunn with HOSA.
Hi, and good evening. I am so honored to be able to present tonight 2 of our HOSA members who qualified for state. We actually had 5 individuals. 3 of them couldn't be here with us this evening. So we have Callie Beard and Juliana Campbell, and then the 3 that also qualified that are not here are Charlie Turner, Marley Styler, and Chloe Garrison. So speaking on kind of a little bit about HOSA. HOSA, for those that don't know, it's an international organization for students who are preparing to go into the healthcare field. So these students have an opportunity to go to state and to be able to showcase their knowledge at the state level, and then be able to qualify to go on to internationals. And so these 2 individuals that are with us tonight, Callie and Juliana, they actually placed within the top 5 at their state competition out of one event had 20 students compete and the other had 22. So they were able to showcase their knowledge. For Juliana, she decided in her event to do health career photography. So essentially she shadowed 3 professions in the field, took pictures, and then did the editing on the pictures, did the captions, and spoke a little bit about what that career opportunity was, and then she presented that to a panel of judges at state. And then Callie, she competed in a research persuasive writing and speaking event in which she did background research into whether or not GLP-1 agonist should be open or for open access to the general public or just for those who are in need. GLP-1, those are like Wegovy, Ozempic. And so she took a stand and she wrote a persuasive paper that was like 2 pages long, and then she memorized the whole entire thing, and then she presented it to a panel of judges. Callie ended up taking 5th in state, and then Juliana took 4th in state and actually qualified to go on to internationals in Nashville this summer. So very excited and proud of them. Thank you.
All right, up next we have FBLA with Mrs. McElwain.
Good evening. I'll keep this brief, but FBLA, Future Business Leaders of America, had a record-breaking year. So at districts and state, we had more than we've ever had. So at district conference, our chapter secured 9 first place and finished, secured 9 first place finishes and earned a total of 30 medals. So that's a record for us. And then I'm so proud also that our chapter was named FBLA Chapter of the Year at the state level for the 2nd consecutive year. So that's a great honor, and it reflects the hard work and commitment of the leadership of our chapter. And then please congratulate me in celebrating all the students who competed at the state conference. Qualifying for state is a remarkable achievement that reflects their dedication, perseverance, and hard work. And finally, I'd like to give a big special shout out to our FBLA national qualifiers, which is, if you come on up, Evan Patrick, Camden Simmer, Emily Mueller, Brianna Lukens, and Amanda Cheney, who is not here. But they will be going to California this June.
All right, next up we have Dr. Smith with DECA.
Okay, I'm speaking for Mrs. Jackson tonight. DECA is a nonprofit organization that prepares emerging leaders and entrepreneurs in marketing, finance, hospitality, and management. It provides high school and college students with opportunities to develop career skills through competitive events, leadership conferences, and networking. DECA is widely regarded as the benchmark for business achievement and is highly respected for connecting classroom learning to real-world applications. Through its competitive events and leadership development, DECA helps students build confidence, teamwork, and professional skills that prepare them for successful careers. The following students are state qualifiers: Lily Eldridge, Miley Johnson, Jonathan Maynard, Canvas Kephart, Bree Lukens, Ashley McMurray, Addie Nichols, Isabel Phipps, Micah Roach, David Robertson, Evan Willard, and Aiden Wilson. Come on up.
Okay, moving right along, next up we have All-State Choir.
This year we had 11 students who but qualified for state ensemble. They spent many hours preparing their songs, their music selections, and they spent, I don't know how much blood and sweat they would say, performing in class and spending time after school and getting ready. And you have to, when you perform at a solo ensemble here that we host at the high school, they have to get the highest rating, which is a gold. And so we had 11 students who got that. And out of the whole district, we had 1,000, I think a little over 1,000 students who qualified for a state. And these students are the ones who received a gold or a silver at the state level. We have, and when I say your name, please come up. Tristan Arnold, Callie Beard, Kendall Corder, Brooklyn Hedrick, Joseph Hudson, Sarah Mansfield, Nathan Morgister, Dylan Rosinski, Trenton Sin, and Lacey Stoneburner.
All right, next up we have Mr. Kilpatrick with our Seal of Biliteracy students.
Hello. These students here, we had a total of 12 that passed the Seal of Biliteracy this year. What is the Seal of Biliteracy? It's a standards-based measurement of proficiency in a language. It's developed by the Avant Assessment Company, and it basically evaluates the 4 key language skills: reading, writing, listening, and speaking. Why is it important? Why would you want to take it? Well, it's to encourage the study of multiple languages. It's to provide employers and universities with a standardized measure of language proficiency in our school district. And it helps to prepare students for participation in a global society. This test, I would say, we did all second semester. We did a lot of practice for it, did a lot of work for it. This was my first group to run through with this test. I would compare it probably to ACT as far as you can't cram for it, you can't really memorize stuff for it because it's in the moment. And I would compare it from a difficulty standpoint to an AP test. So the fact that we had 12 total that passed it, we have the 7 here tonight, Brooklyn Boley, Chloe Thompson, Blake Galvin, Cody Farnsworth, Bailey Mason, Taylor Mason, and Isabel Salzman. So it's a huge accomplishment. In my almost 30 years teaching here, I would say it's one of the bigger things for the foreign language department at the high school. I'm looking really forward to seeing the participation and the effort in the coming years, because these students deserve all of the credit for everything they did for this test and their accomplishments.
All right, and for our last recognition tonight, we have Dr. Allen talking about her leadership seminar participants.
So it's not every night we get to recognize some adults in the room, but if you all want to come on up, that would be great. Thank you. So we are pleased to be able to recognize these wonderful educators in front of you tonight who have completed our 2-year leadership development seminar. This program explores various aspects of leadership within Green Valley Schools. Participants have worked together in sessions focusing on school improvement, supporting students, engaging in challenging conversations, and understanding all sorts of district operations. One of the big things that I want to take away from this group is their willingness and dedication to this school district, as well as time away from other responsibilities and families to be part of this wonderful group. So Thank you to all of you for everything. The collaboration and conversations and leadership are remarkable, and we look to this pool for future leadership positions of all kind. So I want to recognize Becky Bayless from Stony Point. We have Sari Williams from Early Childhood Center, Alex Brandenburg from South Middle, Lindsay Jenkins from North Middle. We have Kayla Mueller from Snyabar, Danny Collier, who is sort of from Snyabar, but other buildings as well. Rachel Young from Early Childhood Center, and Stacy Stifler from Snyabar as well. So congratulations, thank you for your 2 years of dedication, guys.
All right. We want to thank all of the award winners tonight for being here. And if you just came for that presentation, you're welcome to make your way out. If you want to stay for the rest of the board meeting, you're also welcome to do that. All right, that will take us to patron comments. Any school district patron may present information to the board at this time. Presentations will be limited to no more than 5 minutes. The board will not take action on any issue not included on the published agenda. However, all comments will be taken into consideration by the Board of Education. Patrons are requested not to discuss individual faculty, staff, or students. Patrons are reminded that this is a public forum. Any comments relative to individuals could result in litigation. However, any patron may request to meet with the board in executive session. No response will be given by the board at this time. No one had signed up. Did anybody want to speak? All right, very good. That will take us to reports. Start with the transportation program evaluation.
We're pleased to have Director of Transportation, Mr. Sean Brady, with us tonight to deliver his report. It's I was trying to think if it's a biannual or what it is, but it's been 2 years. Every 2 years we do a program evaluation. So, Mr. Brady.
Thank you. Good evening. For those of you that are new to the board since I was last here in '23, I'm Sean Brady, and I've run the Transportation Department for the past 21 years here in the district. I'm pleased to report that the Transportation Department has performed very well over the past 24 months. We've seen our ridership increase by over 127 daily riders since 2023. We've passed all of our regulatory inspections by all the various local, state, and federal agencies. We just completed one today with the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration. Staffing has been very good this year with a 26% decrease in turnover compared to the previous year. Our overall accident and incident count has been very low and steady from year to year, with no injuries to any students or staff for any of those accidents or incidents that we've had. We've implemented new technology this year with our GPS tracking and live video look-in capability to increase student and staff safety. We continue to have a robust training program for our staff, both on the onboarding process and in the annual in-service training. We provide more than double the number of hours that DESE requires of us to give to our staff annually. We continue to give back into our community in the form of participating in the parades, haunted festival downtown, adopt a family program with our local food pantry, and contributing to the local food pantry. I'm proud to say that I'm proud of what we've accomplished, and I believe that you as the school board can also be proud of the most visible extension of our school district, and that we are representing us with excellent service and a commitment to student safety. At this time, I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have about transportation.
All right, thank you. Any questions?
I have a question it's really in the weeds.
Okay.
But I just am curious. I occasionally am behind a bus, and sometimes it's on like Woodbury Drive, which is a pretty main road. And sometimes when they stop in line with the road and they let out their sign, and sometimes they cross to completely block the road, which seems like a very good idea because I have seen cars come up pretty quickly. I was just curious, is that a strategy that you teach, or is that something that they're just doing because it seems to vary from bus to bus? I was just kind of curious what.
It is a technique that we've moved to over the past few years. We've noticed the rise of the number of cars that run our stop arms, and it's really all due to the technology that people have at their disposal in their vehicles. They're distracted, and we really, in some of our major thoroughfares that we travel on, Woodbury being an example of that, we almost just can't trust the public to stop for the big yellow bus and the extended stop arm. So we've taught them the defensive maneuver on those major arteries to angle their bus and physically block the road so that we can protect the students. You know, the procedure in the past would be to have your students get off or wait as we're getting ready to pick them up and wait for the driver to see that all traffic is stopped and give the signal for them to cross. But students are distracted too. And we found that even with that, cars were running past our stop arms. And we turned them into law enforcement, and they do their best, but nothing stems this tide. And so we have been teaching them. Law enforcement is well aware of this. And this is really a nationwide effort that we're seeing in communities all across the nation. The angled stop to block all traffic to protect the students as they get on and off and try to hopefully prevent kids from being hit while they onboard and offboard the school buses.
I appreciate that defensive approach. Second question, our buses are equipped with cameras internal so that we can see our students as the buses are moving, but no external cameras. Is that an accurate statement?
We have one camera that faces out the front windshield of the school bus, and that really helps us with any accident liability that happens whenever we have an accident with the school bus. But it also helps our law enforcement partners if our staff is fortunate enough to catch the license plate, or the parents at the stop help us catch a license plate of a car that's run our stop arm, then school bus drivers are legally permitted to turn in a report that'll generate a ticket for the motorist. And our school resource officers will get that report, swing by the bus barn, have us pull up the video of the event, and they will watch the violation happen on the video. Our cameras can't zoom in, and when we zoom in and stop the motion, it blurs the plate. So we can get an accurate description of the car, show them the car, and they can even show us a male or female inside the vehicle, and often see them on their phone while we stop the motion, but it blurs out being able to read the plate. So it's not perfect, so a lot of it still gets by. Sometimes we tell our drivers that if you saw it happen and you've seen this car before, you're going to see this car again. So fill out the report with everything but the license plate, and when you do see that car again, catch the plate, turn it in, and our law enforcement partners will be happy to still proceed forward even though some time has passed since the actual event.
Thank you. Appreciate
You're
it.
welcome.
Mr. Brady, I would second that sentiment from Mr. English's first comment. I live off Truman Road, and cars did not used to stop, and I was the dad that held a large rock in my hand to throw at the cars going by. Might be an officer in here, but it does work. 2 years ago, you brought a report to the board, and it was pretty impressive with the efficiency of your department. And I just want to say thank you for continuing that. Alternative fuel tax rebates, renegotiating propane prices, added storage on site. So thank you for everything you do.
You're welcome.
My question was about the propane price. What is it at right now, since you're wanting to renegotiate to get it at $1?
Our current price for this cycle, which was November 1st of '24 to October 31st of '25, is $1.46, and I believe we're going down to $1.44 for the next cycle, which will be November 25 and all the way to '26. And we hope if we get more capacity on site, it'll cut down on the number of deliveries that the vendor has to make. Right now, that little truck is buzzing through our lot about three to four times a week. So their delivery costs are higher when they have to make that many trips. So if we can get more capacity on site, less trips, and it'll lead them to give us a better price on our propane. So we hope to get that installed hopefully this summer.
Quickly here, also appreciate what you're doing for the district. Transportation stuff is a big part. It's a necessity, and I know it requires a lot. I see that you've got some things here in the coming years that you're looking towards, and I'm sure there's always things that we need to be prepared for in the future and being able to do better. What things do you foresee you're going to need from us, the board, as we just continue to prepare for the future?
I think Brad and Nick have brought it up, but with the growth and the number of sports and activities that we've seen in our district over the past few years and what's coming online next year with more middle school activities, we need to invest and increase the size of the fleet so we can provide more after-school shuttling capacity. Right now, we have 2 buses at the end of the day at each middle school that help transport kids to the high school or the opposite middle school, wherever their practice might be. And those buses are full right now with the level of participation that we have without adding any more middle school activities. So I foresee the growth needing there to expand the fleet for that. Our special needs, the student population continues to grow, and the number of facilities that we're going to outside the district has grown over time as well. So I think this year we're purchasing 2 more additional white fleet vehicles that'll get better gas mileage on the highway to go back and forth, to take those students out of district, as well as allow some of our coaches to transport some of their smaller groups themselves and save the big bus and save the CDL driver to handle the needs here in the district. So some increased vehicle needs. Don't know if we'll need additional staff at this time, but definitely
Is staff
vehicles.
a challenge? Is getting staff, bus drivers, is that a difficulty?
Normally, yes. I mean, there's no district in America that doesn't have the help wanted sign out. And normally, good economy equals bad news for school jobs, trying to fill all of our positions. Bad economy is good for us. And this past year has been one of our best years ever as far as staying as close to fully staffed as we possibly can and having better turnover. And I credit that to the levy passing over the past year and the increased wages to keep us closer in proximity to our competitors in Blue Springs, Lee Summit, and Independence with their wage levels. So continued effort on that front will be helpful. We do less hours per day than our neighbors do and less money per hour, so it's always a big competition for us. So
I see that you have on here software purchase for record keeping. Is that for drivers? Is that for administration?
It's for administration, for us to be able to have electronically our records for our bus maintenance and help us keep tabs of that a little better, make it easier for our mechanics. Right now, it's a paper system. We have paper files for all of the maintenance records that we've kept on them for the. We have to keep maintenance records for the life of the bus, which we run them 15 years, and then we have to keep them for 10 years after the sale of a bus. So luckily, in the past 6 or 7 years, any bus that we've gotten rid of, we've destroyed to get federal rebates back on, so we haven't had to worry about keeping those records. But if we do sell one, we need to save them for 10 years.
I just had a couple questions. One of them was about the white vans or those transportation options, and for some of the smaller activity groups. How many do we have now that are able to be utilized that way?
We have purchased 3 over the past 3 years. We've got a transit van, and then we've got 2 small white school buses. They're all 10-passenger vehicles, so that's a driver plus 9 riders. So, and legal, that's as many students and students that you can take without being required to be in a big yellow school bus. So we have 3 of those now, and we're looking to add 2 to expand that. This year, our coaches really enjoy them, but we had to restrict them to being only able to borrow 1 of them to take teams, and we want, the demand is even more. So we have groups that could be anywhere in that 9 to 20 kids that they would like to be able to move, and they'd be able to take 2. Right now, we're only able to let 1 go, and so we have to put some of those groups that are in between that 10 and 20, have to take them in a bus. So this will help us next year be able to loan out 2 at a time. And in the summer, those groups that are traveling, like some of the recognitions, are going some far places for competitions, they borrow those vehicles as well instead of renting a car.
And Mr. Brady, my understanding is, even though it's a smaller bus, those white bus, the true bus is not the van, has a lot of the similar safety features as a full-size bus. Is that they're built like kind of a light tank?
That's true. The white bus is made by the same manufacturer as the yellow bus. The transit van is the more popular option for our coaches, and that's what we're going with this time to help the teams out. But when we're moving our special needs students and our homeless students that we're going out into, we tend to keep them in the white school bus with the better safety.
So as far as the transit vans, on any given week, how many could you have out if you had them available?
We use all of them every day. So whether they're helping us move homeless students or going out and bringing the students that are going to and from the out-of-district facilities, we use them every day. So even by adding 2, they will all be in use every day. When we loan out a white one now, we supplant that service with a yellow, so we can cover that and they can take the white van. But we use those white vehicles every single day, every morning, every afternoon.
So if you had
2 more.
not saying that this is going to happen, but if you had 10 more, would you be able to keep them all busy all the time?
I don't think our demand is that high currently, so I think 2 is going to be the sweet spot for us.
Okay.
Plus, we're going to run into some parking issues at our facilities if we go too much more. We have room for about 2 more buses to park without having to park them in odd places. And we could easily accommodate those 2 additional white vehicles inside the gated fenced-in area. So.
Very good. Any other questions? All right. Thank you for coming.
Appreciate it, you guys. Thank you.
That will move us to the superintendent's report.
Have some highlights for you. We are tracking as expected for our revenues and expenditures as we're closing out the school year, and you can see how we're trending, how we compare to the last 2 budget years. In our health premium overages, no changes since the last time that we reported, so we're glad any month that we can report that. And we're also pleased to report that in the last month, our student attendance has been really solid. So we are now at 89.1% collectively as a school district, and our goal is the 90% mark. These last couple weeks of school are a difficult time to increase that, so we're a little nervous that we're going to end up falling just shy of our ultimate goal of 90%. But we're really pleased with the growth and the efforts that all the building level administrators and counselors and everybody involved has taken this year, and the results they've seen for an increase overall in student attendance. A couple of things I want to highlight from the report in general. First of all, this is a busy time in Jefferson City as they wrap up their legislative session for the season. And one significant thing I want to report on or follow up on was the passage of House Bill 2 that was signed off on by both the House and the Senate. Ultimately, the Senate did secure its goal of fully funding the formula. So right now, it looks like we will get our full adequacy target funding for the upcoming school year. So that is a huge win. And it looks like the governor got his win to allocate $50 million of general revenue towards the ESA voucher program. So we'll have public funding of the voucher program for the first time. So that appears to be the compromise. And in return, it sounds like the governor has assured the Senate that he would not veto their fully funding of the formula. So with that, we are revising our draft budget. We'll bring that to the board at the June workshop. It will reflect a full ADA or full funding of our state adequacy target. And what you can expect from that is there's a couple more positions that we've been holding off on that we should be able to move forward with. We will also see we want to give larger raises across the board. And there's also, with this being the first year with a new state adequacy target, but questions about the sustainability moving forward, it gives us an opportunity to make some one-time purchases and feel better about that as well. So I'm glad that we got to hear from Mr. Brady tonight, because it could be that although he only needs 2 of the white buses right now, we might be looking ahead to replace 2 or 3 of the yellow buses as well. Especially because some of the grant funding, some of the federal grant funding is kind of questionable moving forward. So if we have an opportunity to order buses for next year that maybe we wouldn't have replaced for one more year, but we can do it with a grant now versus no grant a year from now, then maybe it's an opportunity to use some of this as one-time spending. So we'll go over that at the June workshop. We'll ask for the board's final authorization at your meeting in June. The other highlight that I want to share with you from the administration report is that we did have a follow-up meeting with our teacher organizations as a follow-up to their presentation to the board to discuss the input that we got from teachers this spring on the expectations, especially at the elementary and middle school level, of the use of plan time and the expectations for participating in after-school and evening events at school. So we circled back with those leaders, those teacher leaders, and we seem to be all on the same page. They suggested, one of the things we had brainstormed this winter when they came was possibly putting a broader committee together in June. Still open to that, but they're feeling like they've accomplished what they set out to accomplish. So we are going to roll out expectations in the teacher handbooks. But our expectations that we clarified for this leadership team, they were agreeable to. They actually suggested, how do the principals feel about this? So we're going to run it by the principals. We can put it out to all the teachers, give everybody a chance to react yet this spring. But we feel like we're in a good place, and the cabinet is going to stay engaged with the teacher organization leadership to make sure that we're meeting their expectations for what their members were telling them last semester. So there is I wanted to make sure in the calendar of events down below, it seems like one of these things was new. I can't now think of which one it was, because I think we already had, if maybe it was the convocation on August 15th. Just wanted to make sure the board had that on their calendar. You're certainly invited to attend that. That is a fun back-to-school pep rally that we do. We'll also recognize our benchmark years of service at that annual event. Looking at it now, I think the rest of those you had in there before. So. But we would answer any questions on either the highlights or anything within the superintendent's report.
Dr. Gooch, you know what I'm going to ask about. So our lunch debt is at $96,000. We're up $43,000 since this time last year. How much do we think we're going to recoup with prom?
Well, the initial amount from that was, it wasn't quite as lucrative as homecoming and parking passes. I do know that we were able to recoup a few $1,000s. There's some work also kind of being done, or there's some discussions or chatter happening about seniors understanding that that they may have some lunch debt out there, and looks like there was maybe some community members that were also looking to kind of help support that too. So we'll wait and see how that pans out, but prom was not quite the number that the initial one took. You know, like I think with homecoming and parking passes, if I remember right, we were able to recoup 14,000. And the last time I talked with Mr. Hughes about it, we were just a couple $1,000s on this one.
All right. Any other questions on the superintendent's report? All right, very good. If anybody has anything that they find later, you can email it to Dr. Welling and we can get it answered. That'll take us to new business. I would look for a motion to add 2 paraprofessional FTEs for the 2025-2026 school year.
Second.
All right. Dr. Welly, you want to highlight that?
Yeah, so we had, in our preliminary budget, we had kind of earmarked the possibility of the need for 4 additional paras for next school year. But we don't bring those to the board and ask for authorization until we know that we have students whose needs we need to fulfill. So that's what these first 2 do. We have these assigned to either specific students or as a result of students that we know that are going to be qualifying, that are going to increase the need for additional set of hands. So, we don't necessarily need to lock in that these people are hired right now, but we want, as we've posted paras already, we just want to know what our options are to be able to fill. If you're offered a job as a para, if there is an option for you to be at this school or this school, we might be able to offer them that option. And so with us knowing that we need 2 more, we'd like to get those authorized at this time for the fall.
And the funding's been moved around and authorized, or
We had already penciled in to hire 4 paras, and now with the full SAT, we're going to be able to not only do this, but we'll be able to add a couple other positions that were on our, I call it the wish list, but further down the list. So we're going to be fine financially on this one.
okay. Any additional questions? All right, all in favor of approving adding 2 paraprofessional FTEs for 2025-2026 school year, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. That'll take us to the next motion to add 1 technology system administrator for the 2025-2026 school year.
So moved.
Okay, so this position has been something that we've been looking at the last year or so as far as a need. As we have added software systems and the need for some of those software systems to interact with each other, we find that we're putting a lot more of our human resources into troubleshooting those and supporting those software systems. And so what Mr. Waddy and Dr. Gooch have proposed is that we have this system administrator role specific to supporting those systems. So before we knew that we were going to have an SAT, we were actually prepared to take a tech position and elevate it to this role. Now with the SAT, we're likely to, from a budget standpoint, we're likely to go ahead and backfill. So you really are creating a new position, a new FTE position for us tonight. And this will be fully funded with our new funding from the state for next year.
Any additional questions on this item? So that dollar amount that's listed there, that was for the moving, and then it's going to be 1 more staff member.
Yep. So instead of just an $18,000 increased impact on the budget, we're going to say this is more like an $80,000 impact to the budget, but we're going to have 2 positions instead of 1 person, if that makes sense.
Yep. All right.
Dr. Taylor.
All in favor to add 1 technology system administrator for the 2025-2026 school year, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. I would look for a motion to approve the Valley Teacher Academy agreement language.
So moved.
We discussed this as a board last month, and we got some clarification on a couple of items based on that conversation with legal, and so this comes back to you. The reason that we want the board to act on this is primarily because of the financial commitment we're gonna make for the cadets' commitment and to come back and teach for us. So we did get that cleaned up, and if a cadet graduates from us at age 17, we'll have them sign this upon turning 18 over the summer. So when they go off to college, we can all stay connected. They're not guaranteed a job after they graduate from college and get certified, but we went first look at them. So this kind of solidifies the language of that program. We're pretty excited to take what we've been doing to the next level.
All right, any questions or discussion on this item? I would look, oh, sorry, I already did that. All in favor to approve the Valley Teacher Academy agreement language, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Thank you. I would look for a motion to approve the purchase of property adjacent to the existing Pink Hill Campus District property for $250,000.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, this purchase is for acres along Pink Hill Road to provide improved access to our existing property. Dr. Gooch has pulled up the map. We currently have 137 acres. North Middle School is included in that. The Early Childhood Center is where the old district office used to be. We also have some operations facilities on that. Most of that is undeveloped land. Some of it's quite hilly. So, you don't necessarily have 137 of 100% usable acres, but you can see where kind of the bare spots are there. Those are potential build sites. The 3 parcels of land that we would secure for this price gives us better access on what is a hilly Pink Hill Road. So if you are otherwise exiting our property, really without the purchase of this, you would bottleneck any structure, the traffic from any structure from the 137 acres would all be bottlenecked into the existing entrance and exits, and you would be running all that traffic past North Middle School. So this allows us kind of a byway. And in the short term, the projects that are most likely, the first thing that people are likely to see on this 137 acres that would benefit from this new purchase of land is a middle school outdoor athletic facility. I think realistically then, future down the road would be either elementary school number 5 or possibly elementary school number 6 if we went somewhere else to do elementary school number 5. This is technically enough land to support a second high school one day, but we are not trending toward, I get asked all the time, when's the second high school? And for the last 10 years, I've been saying the same thing. It's probably 15 years out. So it's still 15 years out because we don't project 15 years out. So it really isn't something that we're putting energy into thinking about. But no matter how we use our 137 acres moving forward, whether we use it or if we didn't use it and at some point we either sold it or traded it, it's going to be more valuable to us or to someone else who would have it after us to have this direct access on this purchase. And the current property owner, we had reached out to many years ago as we were building North Middle School, and we just introduced ourselves as neighbors, and we said, hey, if you ever want to sell anything, give us a call. And so about a year ago they did, and so we've been kind of talking on and off for the last year, and that's how we come to the agreement that we bring before you tonight. We're also pleased to have Nicole Young with us, who we've worked with extensively on our design projects. She's with Hollis & Miller, and we've invited her in to help answer questions too, so that you could hear from an expert on the significance of this land and the usability for the land that we already own, if you have any questions for either her or for me.
Thank you. Are there any questions for Dr. Welly or Ms. Young?
Just a few quick ones. My first question is that I don't know that a traffic study has been done. Do you feel like without that information, you can guarantee us that that property will solve our problem, just having looked at it?
So given what you've got on the site now, obviously things are functioning fine. I think the issue is with, you had access points before without this buying the whole 6 acres. There were some access easements. Unfortunately, those access easements were not in the best place from a sight line with the hill and different things. So certainly as any more development happens on that site, a traffic study will have to happen, but now you have much more flexibility on where you can put those entrances. And so you still may need a traffic study, likely need a traffic study, but before you were almost certain to have a light probably to do that because of being able to stop traffic and just depending on the volume. Where I think now you have much more flexibility to move those access points where it makes sense and you have good sight lines and probably at least for the development we're talking about, like the middle school athletic, I don't see it needing a light for any reason. But before, it very well could have, because those access points just weren't great before.
Okay. And then we've got 137 acres up there.
Yep.
Will this acquisition give us full use of that? Obviously we can't build on all of it. There, like Dr. Willie said, there's hills and all sorts of other things that other challenges we would need to work through. I guess what I'm asking is, does this really give us access to all future potential development?
Yeah, so we've done quick studies where, layout for a future high school potentially, and just to test it, we've done it over the years before this was purchased, even the 137, and then recently looked at it again. Also for an elementary school, the way that it allows access away from where you have access now and a secondary access, potentially 2 there if it worked out, to get access through that site is much better than what you've got now, especially with the terrain change of that site. I mean, where that 6 acres is kind of on the lower end of things. And so being able to come in there without having to navigate on the high end and then get down to it and different things and go past, as Dr. Willie said, the middle school, this opens up a lot of possibilities for that to kind of come right through the middle of your site. You can go off, whether it's an elementary school kind of first hitting the site and then the high school's further up. But yeah, I think it'll allow you a lot more access to that.
Okay, thank you.
You bet.
Are there any additional questions?
One question for Dr. Welly around the price.
Yep.
Did we do any kind of, I don't recall, did we do any kind of fair market value study to determine if this is a reasonable price for this property?
Yeah, we looked at comps, and we're within the range. Now, if you look at, it's not in a commercial area, but we don't even touch what they're getting for commercial property. But we compared it to residential. The difference is, and the seller knows that we have the value that it adds to our existing property. So, if you or I were going to go build an acreage, you might have gotten a little bit better price on this, but we were assured by the real estate agent that was advising us that it's within the range of comps for what we're getting. But it's probably a little touch on the high end of comps, be fully transparent about that.
Okay, thank you. No further questions for me, thanks.
Will there be a plan to use this pretty quickly once secured?
Yeah, we will. We have on a short list right now of what could possibly be done next on a next bond issue, and we very much have an interest in putting a outdoor athletic facility to support both middle schools, but to be behind North Middle School. And so we would plan to use this new parcel hopefully in the next couple of years. And it may not be for visitor parking, but it would certainly be for emergency vehicles, possibly team buses, coaches. So it's going to come into play very quickly.
Yeah, because there's easily a 30-foot drop from where, if a field was placed, where it would be versus the parking lot up top. And so trying to navigate a vehicle from the top side down, obviously that's a pretty steep slope to do that, especially when you're talking about buses and emergency vehicles. So this access to the bottom will be great because it's coming in basically at that grade.
All right. Any additional questions? All right. Thank you. All in favor of approving the purchase of the property adjacent to the existing Pink Hill Campus District property for $250,000, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Thank you. That will take us to the annual meeting of the Cooperating School Districts of Greater Kansas City on June 4th.
So this is just for information for the board. I do plan to attend, and I'd welcome if any of our board members care to join me. But this is a co-op among metro school districts. There's a lot that they do for us. They help us with professional development, cooperative purchasing services, communication and crisis control assistance. So it's a great co-op. This is the annual meeting, and just wanted to see if it had any interest. If you do want to attend, just reach out to Ms. Clapper or myself, and we'll RSVP on your behalf.
All right. Very good. Any questions on that for now? No. That'll take us to board policies. We have a couple different groups of policies here that are all first read policies, and we will not be going over them one by one. We will bring those up at the next workshop to discuss in further detail and then move them to a third read at the next board meeting. Any comments on any of them at this point? That will take us to a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor of adjourning, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you all for coming.